My lovelies, it's that time of the week. Hard to believe, Tuesday the 9th of August. I'm sorry that I'm a little bit late this evening. I got carried away in office work while Riyadh was quiet. What is seldom is wonderful. And doing a little bit of catch up, which was brilliant. Fantastic weight loss. Well done to everyone, and well done to everyone on getting there this week. Despite those weeks that we were to having a bad week, that you still got there. Welcome back to those from holidays. Those that couldn't be with us, get well soon. And those that are on holidays, enjoy. I hope that we're all soaking up a little bit of vitamin D and some rays today, protecting our skin. Vitamin D is very good for mental health and our overall well-being, and also to fight COVID as well, which is very much still in our community. I will post a weight loss, but the weight loss for this week alone has just been absolutely fantastic. I'm super proud of everyone. Remember that we've 3 weeks left in the month of August, so 3 weeks, £2 a week is £6. That is what's there for the taking. Then we can take September when that time comes. But let's live in our moment. Let's start as we mean to go on, and our week starts now. I would encourage everyone to keep the food diary as well. And thank you everyone for sharing your story on the group. It was lovely just sitting back today and reading the messages, and then I just waited my turn to come in this evening and reply to all those lovely messages. It's such an amazing platform to be part of, a group that it's 100% confidential, that we feel comfortable, that we can discuss different things and that we can all relate to, and a safe place to put our before and after pictures on, which is absolutely amazing. And I would encourage everyone to do it, because it does spur on the rest of us, and when we don't have a good week, also post about that, because the rest of us can relate to that. We are human. Next week's talk is quite a visual talk. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it on the video, but I work around the logistics of that. But it's titled, "On What Day of the Week Did I Lose Weight?" So it's a very interesting one that's coming up next week. Make sure you're trying the recipes also, and let me know how you get on with your little free pot of jelly. I just want to say thanks to Hartley's for that as well. Very generous, and in the future hopefully they will work along with us. So this week's talk is titled "Flat Belly Tips and How to Beat Bloating," a tongue twister. So roughly 80% of members, when I look back on the weeks, 80% of members will say to me, I feel a little bit bloated, or I'm a little bit constipated this week. And I'm not being rude talking about this, but if it is a problem with members, then we need to address it and we need to solve that problem. Most women, I know we have John in the group and we will have Michael with us next week. Most women will discuss their bellies and will say to me, I just want to get rid of my belly. I think mainly because obviously the obvious reason is that it's in front of us. As I said last week, me personally don't tend to worry too much about my bum because it is behind me and I don't see it on a daily basis unless I get a chance to look in the mirror. But that's usually the first thing. We look in the mirror and we say, how's my belly looking, and that. And we might do the 3-tier wedding cake is what I call it. We wear something to cover our belly, something to cover our bum, and then something over all that just in case. So it is the seat of gravity. Remember also, for men and women, it is nice to have a shape rather than a washboard, let's say. But just a little pointer from one of the doctors that's associated with the HSE food pyramid, Dr. Jensen. He says, it's a myth that bloating in the stomach is from fluid accumulation in healthy adults, because the abdomen is not a place where fluids accumulate first. Instead, you would see it in your feet and ankles as long as you are upright. And also a good way of knowing if you're retaining fluid is on the back of your hand. So when you pinch the back of your hand, the skin should go back straight away. And if it doesn't, then it means that we are retaining a little bit of fluid as well. It's meant to get hot later in this week, so we need to definitely up the ante on our water intake. The last little bit of heat wave there a few weeks ago, there was a lot of hospital admissions from dehydration. When you feel thirsty, that is the last stage of dehydration. So it's really, really important that we're keeping on top of our water intake. So basically, of course, is not to eat too fast, because what happens when we eat too fast? Eating quickly and not chewing your food will cause air swallowing. That leads to obviously bloating in the stomach. And bear in mind that digestion does start in the mouth, okay? And it takes 20 minutes for that signal from when we eat for food to hit the stomach to go to the brain to say the food's on the way and to start processing it. So just to slow it down a little bit, not to be, let's say, that saying that's out there at the moment, to be hoovering up food or eating on our feet, because we don't tend to enjoy it and it's not as satisfying. So eating too fast can lead to bloating, that feeling of a little bit gas in the stomach as well. Usually the belly is the last place to go, because it is the seat of gravity, unfortunately. But the fat buster drink, that's why I have that poster up every week in class. One of your own members, Yvonne, has got to share that in your class. Thanks, Yvonne, for that. And also the picture that you shared with the group last week of the fat buster drink. It does tackle those stubborn areas, and it is a lovely drink. You might think the mix is not very appetising, but it is okay and it is very refreshing. Your next one is to avoid constipation where we can. So loads of fibre in our diet. So where are we going to find fibre? It's in the skin of anything, like the skin of a carrot, the skin of your potato, the skin of an apple, the skin of a pear. We live in a generation, where it's peel and scrape all the good stuff off, or boil the veg, that all the goodness goes down the drain. So that's where all your main fibre is. Also fibres in like your whole grain foods, so whole grain bread, your rice, your pasta, your whole grain cereal, fortified cereal is also high in whole grain. Because that's where the roughage is. So remember that you've 28 feet of intestine, so it's so important really to keep that flushed on a daily basis. I'm not one for recommending tablets or over-the-counter products unless it's an emergency, let's say. The HSE would recommend bran flakes and orange juice for 3 days. And if that doesn't work, then go to something over the counter, and I'll always speak to your pharmacist, because they will know your history and also other medication that you'd be on. Loads of water helps with constipation as well, but fibre is what keeps things moving, okay? And physical activity is also really, really important there. Number 3 then is watch out for sugar-free foods. So basically sugar-free foods, too much artificial sweetener. So I might say sugar-free, but if there's ingredients on that end in the letter OSE, that means there's sweeteners in it. So they've like lactose, fructose, all those are different forms of sugar that they would have added in. Drinks, they also lead to stomach bloating. So those sugar-free drinks, you know yourself, when you have a fizzy drink, you might be a little bit belchy, the gas is coming up. So listen to what your body is saying. So if you have heartburn or an upset stomach or anything like that, listen to your body, because it's letting you know that you've ate or drank something that doesn't agree with you and can lead to bloating as well. Just for the women in the group, also remember that the monthly cycle would play a part in that bloating. So number 4 then is to limit sodium. So to limit salt, highly processed foods tend to be high in sodium and low in fibre. Frozen foods, tin foods, they're packed with salt and sugar as well. So just to watch that. Sodium, even if it's a 66% lower salt, it is only 66% lower. Garlic salt is salt. Himalayan salt, I paid €28 years ago for a small little jar of that. Himalayan salt, pink salt, salt is salt. It really shouldn't be there. It is a killer that we have on our tables at home. All the spices in the club are there for loads of flavour, and salt should really not be there, folks, at this stage. If you are going to use a little bit in your cooking, but definitely not on the table. Just observe the next time you're out in a coffee shop, in a restaurant, how many people actually just laden their food with salt before they even taste the food to see if it needs salt. I think it could be an Irish thing. Number 5 then is be careful of fizzy drinks, carbonated drinks. So anything that is fizzy, carbonated is a fancy word for that, so just keep an eye on that. Even fizzy water, fizzy flavoured water, that was on the up in the last heat wave there a few weeks ago. Members were drinking fizzy water. I noticed it on the food diary. So anything that's fizzy, carbonated, attacks the marrow of the bone, so it weakens our bone structure, and also it does lead to bloating, and the body does find it very hard to break down those fizzy drinks. I know those soda streams are back in. I used to have one of them as a teenager, thought it was brilliant. But just to be really, really aware of that, water, it should be the best tipple in there. Number 6 then is don't overdo chewing gum. They say roughly 3 minutes maximum to chew chewing gum, because when you're chewing gum, that word masticating, so you're chewing and you're sending that signal. That's why after about 20 minutes your stomach is talking to you saying, where is the food, where is the food? So not to chew chewing gum. Also that leads to swallowing air, which leads to bloating. So the likes of popcorn or your fruit, but again, it's to be prepared to have your fruit chopped in your Tupperware container, in the handbag, in the car, in the rucksack, wherever it has to go. But we need to get planned and we need to get prepared and not leave it to chance, folks. Number 7 is to go easy with beans. So obviously that's your baked beans, gassy veg as well as your greens, but cauliflower is in there as well. It's on the list. So your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, not to cut them out, but to obviously have them in moderation, and obviously be aware of hemochromatosis. A lot of Irish people have it, but they don't realise that they have it. It's undiagnosed. And gassy veg, so your greens, it's really just too much iron in the blood. A simple blood test does show it up. Number 8 then is abdominal massage. So we all would have got those as kids, I hope. Mommy or daddy threw our belly when we had sore bellies, and it is a relief. For me personally, without being pregnant, I find it very relaxing, just rubbing your belly. And if there is anything there, it just makes us feel better. And obviously if there is gas there, it helps break it down. Number 9 then is to eat little and often. That's why your snack box is on the food diary. Not to go long gaps, because again, that's going to lead to air basically building up. And also it is important to have that food, so we're not going hungry and then leaving it till night time, because that's what happens in this good weather. What happens is we feel that it's too warm to eat. We're not really in the humour. When it gets cool, I was going to say around this time, but I don't really think it's very cool right now, is that we tend to overindulge at that stage. So eat little and often, that will help with the stomach bloating. So therefore the stomach doesn't bloat, doesn't start taking water from other organs within the body. Number 10 then is try anti-bloating foods and drinks. So pineapple is a great one. Also your ginger tea, your peppermint tea, parsley, yogurts containing probiotics are brilliant for helping any inflammation that is in the stomach. Number 11 then is never fast unless medically advised to do so. So unless we're going for bloods and our doctor or the hospital has advised us to fast, we should never do it. I used to do intermittent fasting where you don't eat for 8 hours and you can eat for 12 and vice versa, and all I did was put on weight. Water tablets I used to take as well to stop fluid retention. There is no substitute for losing those few pounds is the recommendation from the HSE, but never ever fast. Number 12 then is to keep a food diary, because that's where we're going to see patterns. If there's a pattern that on Tuesdays that we tend to feel a little bit bloated, what is happening on a Tuesday, what are we eating, what's our surroundings, what's our environment, are we more stressed out on a Tuesday? And that's where the food diary really helps. So your little motto for this week is small changes equal big results. You know yourself, I'm on the clock with the video, so it doesn't go into the second one. I want us to all stay really safe, have a fantastic week, enjoy the good weather, just watch for those bits, how many bits is in a bit, make the right choices where you can, loads and loads of water, have a fabulous week, keep the food diary, and well done to everyone. Big hugs and kisses to all. Bye.